Hello, this is Professor Fitzik, and I'd like to start with an introduction to ethics. We'll cover a few definitions, discuss an exercise you'll be doing called the drawbridge exercise, try to distinguish between positive and negative rights, and cover one of the scenarios from your readings in your textbook. Why should a person study ethics? Well, first of all, many of us have to think about decisions that we make regarding what's right and what's wrong in terms of a situation. As we continue in the information age, there are so many issues that are emerging, and we need to make sure we understand what's going on with the digital information that we're working with. And many other technical advances are causing new situations to arise where, again, we have to decide on the right action or the wrong, what would be wrong to do. If you're going to have an ethical point of view, you need to be respectful of other people and their core values instead of just considering what you value. Our society, or any society, is basically a group of people under a system of rules. And when we think about morality, we're talking about society's rules of conduct. Ethics is different than morality. Many people think they're one and the same, but ethics is the study of morality. I'd like you to think about definitions for each of these terms. You'll be discussing some of those in the discussion board. How would you define right and wrong? How would you define duty? What about virtue versus vice? Have you thought about trying to define care versus harm? And finally, what's your definition of respect? We'll be doing a little exercise about a baron and a baroness who has been told not to leave the castle, but she proceeds to leave and crosses a drawbridge, informing the servants to leave the drawbridge open until she returns later in the evening. You'll read this exercise. I'm not going to read it all to you right now. And then, given the 6 characters in the story listed in alphabetical order on the screen, you'll have to rank the characters in terms of their responsibility for the death of the Baroness. And you can only use each number once. So only one of these can be ranked number 1 as the most responsible. Another person can be ranked number 2 as the next most responsible, but only use one number for each. Finally, I'd like to just have you think about positive versus negative rights. Maybe you've never thought about this before, but your textbook talks about it a bit. A positive right, sometimes called an entitlement, creates duties on the part of others to provide a good or a service. It's a right that obligates others to do something on your behalf. Some examples would be the right to a free education or the right to social welfare. A negative right, on the other hand, is a right that another can guarantee by just leaving you alone to exercise your right. Sometimes these are called liberties. Or you can think about it as a duty of non-interference. Some examples are the right to free expression and the right to own private property. In your textbook, there are 4 scenarios. I'm going to discuss one and have you think about it. You'll be responding to some of these questions on the discussion board. Alexis is a gifted high school student who wants to become a doctor, but she's from a poor family and she'll need a scholarship to be able to attend college. At her high school, there's an extra research project that's been required from one of her classes, and her school only has a few old PCs and there are lots of people waiting to use them. Alexis has a private college near her home, and she decided to go there in the evening to see if there would be computers available there. The computers required a login from an enrolled student at the private college, and Alexis peered over the shoulder of one of the students and obtained their username and password. Then she went to another computer and used it so that she could get onto the computer and do her research project on this private college's resources. As a result, Alexis received an A on the project, received straight A's in high school, and got a full ride to a prestigious university. Now, what's right or wrong in this scenario? Did she do anything wrong? That's what you'll have to think about and respond to. Who benefited from her actions and who was hurt? Would your view change if she didn't receive a scholarship? Are there other ways that she could have achieved her objective? I'm looking forward to exploring the various issues related to ethics with you this semester. Please contact me if you have any questions.